Hi, welcome to my studio. Today I will be running through a quick lesson to get you started with your acrylic paints.
For our painting project, you will need the following supplies: acrylic paint, paint brushes, a palette. I use a wax palette, but you could also use a piece of glass or a hard plastic palette, cloth or paper towel, a water jar, an actual pear or a photo of a pear, and canvas. You'll need a burnt sienna, ultramarine blue, cadmium yellow medium, and cadmium red medium, and a white. If you don't have those exact colors, that's okay. You can use a blue, yellow, and a red, but remember that the colors on your painting will look different than mine. As far as brushes, you'll need a small, pointed, round brush, a small flat brush, and a medium flat brush. Okay, now let's get painting. I'm using my small rounded pointed brush and I'm going to load it with my burnt sienna. I'll be using my burnt sienna to draw out my pear. I'm going to mark out the top of my stem, the bottom of my pear, and each side of my pear. These markings will act as a guide as I draw my pear. And with my eye, I'm going to follow the shape of my pear photograph. And I'm going to make sure that I hold my brush at the very end, just to keep the painting nice and loose. If I feel like my brush is getting a little bit dry, I'll be sure to add a bit more burnt sienna to my brush, or even add a little bit more water, just to make sure that my brush continues to flow along the canvas. I will grab my flat brush and I'm going to take a look at the value of my pear. I'm going to be painting the darkest value of the pear using just straight burnt sienna. I'm now going to add some water to my burnt sienna, and what that will do is it will provide me with my middle value. It will be somewhat translucent so you can see the canvas through the paint, and that's exactly what we want. And using a little bit of paper towel, I'm going to wipe off some of the paint to reveal the lightest value of our pear, and I'll add a little bit of water just to pull some more paint off. I will grab my flat brush again, and I'm going to load it with my burnt sienna, and I'm going to put my shadow flat across underneath my pear. I'm going to add some water to my brush just to soften the edges around my shadow. We've now completed the value structure of our pear. I'm now going to grab my small pointed brush and I'm going to load it with my burnt sienna just to include the darkest parts of the stem. I'm going to grab my blow dryer so I can quickly dry the burnt sienna. I want to make sure that that color is completely dry before we add the green to our pear. All right, it is now color mixing time. We are going to mix our darkest green to start. We will be adding yellow to our blue, and we're going to keep mixing, and we're going to add just a little bit of red to darken that green up. And we're going to go back and forth until we get that perfect dark green. Using the burnt sienna as our guide, we are going to fill in the darkest areas of our pear with our dark green. I will now add yellow to the green that I already have. I'll keep it the same value, but it will be more of a yellow green. Continuing to use the pear as my guide, I am going to paint in my more yellow green. And if you notice the way I'm painting, I'm constantly using short strokes, moving my brush back and forth, carving out the shape of that pear. I am now going to add white to my existing yellow-green. And I will paint in the lighter areas of my pear. All right, here we go. We're going to make our lightest green, adding some more white to that light green. And now I'm going to take a look at the darkest areas of my painting, which are the stem and the shadow, and I'm going to create that dark color. Using all three primary colors, blue and red and yellow, I'm going to keep mixing until I create a dark color. I'm going to add this dark color to the shadow at the bottom of the pear. This will help the pear actually sit on the table rather than appear floating. I'm now mixing my background color. I've chosen to make my background pink, but you can definitely choose whichever color that you'd like. I'll now grab my larger flat brush and I'm going to add a little bit of white into my pink, Basically what I want to do is I want to make it look like there's a light source in my background. So I'm going to make the left side of my canvas lighter than the right side of my canvas. As you can see, I've added in a yellow table, and I've actually added a second layer of all of my values of green just to darken up the pear.
All right, here's my final painting. I hope you found this lesson helpful, and I hope you keep painting and creating. Thanks for watching. See you soon.